Justice and truth are not enemies of power. They are its final reckoning, and when they rise, the world is set free. Justice is the heartbeat of truth, and when it beats freely, the world awakens from its chains. When truth is silenced, tyranny thrives, but once justice speaks, even the darkest empire trembles. According to one historian, a woman whose life was turned upside down by the storm known as Russiagate, the truth begins and ends with one man, John Bolton. Her name is Svetlana Lokova, and her story reveals a web of intelligence operations stretching from Washington all the way to London, a network of spies, diplomats, and power brokers determined to stop Donald Trump before he ever took office back in 2016. In her own words, she writes on X, Brennan's CIA and Comey's FBI ran an anti-Trump operation from the UK. Through Stephen Halper and Christopher Steele, Gina Haspel was then the CIA station chief over in London, Alan Kohler, the FBI's man on the ground, and John Bolton. He knew them all. In 2016, a story was fabricated, a lie that would ripple across the world. They claimed that Svetlana had an affair with General Michael Flynn, and that she was a Russian spy. That the single fabrication became the seed of a sprawling investigation, the spark that ignited the Mueller probe and an attempted impeachment on a sitting U.S. president. When President Trump tried to declassify the documents back in 2018, the truth behind the lies, it was Bolton, Haspel, Wray, and Rosenstein who stood in the way. Their excuse, protecting allies, protecting national security, but in reality, they were protecting themselves, the deep state. By 2020, Trump had declassified the files, but even then, the intelligence community blocked the words London and the United Kingdom. What comes next was unprecedented. The same network that fabricated the lie moved to hide the evidence. The Biden team reclassified it. Then, the FBI raided Trump's home and seized the very documents that could expose it all. That's what they were in Mar-a-Lago for. That's what they wanted. And yet, somehow these files survived. Today they have been fully declassified. And what we all have been learning and what they reveal may change everything we thought we knew about the deep state, foreign interference, and the war to silence one president. We all know last year, John Durham, a special prosecutor for the Department of Justice, concluded that the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, should have never opened its investigation of an alleged collusion by then presidential candidate Donald J. Trump and Russia in late July of 2016. All these years later, we now have multiple credible sources talking and telling of the intelligence community, including the Central Intelligence Agency, clowns in America, illegally mobilized foreign intelligence agencies to target Trump advisors long before the summer of 2016. As we have reported here on the Patriot Hour, many of times going all the way back. But this new information fills in many gaps in our understanding of the Russia collusion hoax and is supported by testimony already available in the public sector. Up until now, the official story has been that the FBI's investigation only began after Australian intelligence officials told U.S. officials that a Trump aide had boasted to an Australian diplomat that Russia had damning material about the Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. But in all truth, the U.S. intelligence community asked the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance to surveil Trump's associates and share that intelligence right back with the U.S. agencies. You know, email it, fax it on over, says sources close to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the HSPCI, investigation. Now, the Five Eyes nations are the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Now, at the time, we had been told that Barack Obama's CIA Director John Brennan had identified 26 Trump associates for the Five Eyes to target. A source confirmed that the intelligence community had identified them as people to bump or to make contact with or manipulate. They were targets of our own intelligence community and law enforcement, targets for collection and their misinformation. Unknown details about the FBI's exact investigation of Trump campaign and the raw intelligence related to the entire intelligence community's surveillance of Trump campaign are supposedly all in a 10-inch red binder that Trump ordered to be declassified at the very end of his term. If the top secret documents exist proving these charges, they are potentially proof that multiple U.S. intelligence agencies and officials broke all kinds of laws against spying and election interference. And this is called treason. Now, the media is already trying to get a spin on this as you see all these articles popping off from just December of 23, right before the new year of 2024, talking about a missing 10-inch red binder. These articles all fail to make clear or even mention that Trump waved his hand over all this and declassified it the last 48 hours in office, creating a storm, a whirlwind, panic in D.C. Now listen up close. Executive Order 13526, Classified National Security Information. This order prescribes a uniform system for classifying, safeguarding, and declassifying national security information, including information relating to defense against transnational terrorism. Our democratic principles require that American people be informed of the activities from within their government. Now here's a fun fact that John Brennan and the clowns in America over at the CIA forgot about. You can't classify wrongdoings. Subsection Article 1.7, the glitch in the system, a law that the DOJ likes to forget. Here are a few highlights of Section 1.7 classification, prohibitions, and limitations. A. In no case shall information be classified, continue to be maintained as classified, or fail to be declassified in order to 1. Conceal violations of the law, inefficiency, or administrative error. 2. Prevent embarrassment to a person, organization, or agency. 3. Restrain competition. Or 4. Prevent delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interest of national security. Now, there are lots of more. You can read this all for yourself at the whitehousearchive.gov. Now back to this binder. Was this the reason that they were, raided Mar-a-Lago? There's more to the story than we all know. They're talking about Trump originally worked with them, turned over 15 boxes. We didn't get to hear about all that. And then they didn't find what they were looking for. Maybe it was this binder. Maybe it was some of these papers on Obama and North Korea. But here's what we do know about the contents of the binder. It contained information related to the FBI's botched Crossfire hurricane investigation, including the materials on the origins of the probe collected by Trump aides and the botched FBI applications for the warrantless wiretaps. They also included some of the text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, the lovers at the FBI officials who were involved in basically the whole probe. Much of that material is not considered so sensitive, but it was covered heavily redacted in the versions released by the FBI. Now, Trump has repeatedly called the whole FBI investigation a hoax. John Solomon's federal court filing back in August said that just before Trump left office, After his defeat, supposedly by U.S. President Joe Biden, Solomon was told by Mark Meadows that Trump intended to order the declassification of the Crossfire hurricane materials in the binder. 2 days before his term ended, the document said Trump and Meadows told Solomon that the binder had been declassified. On January 19th, Meadows invited Solomon over to the White House to review several hundred declassified pages and to discuss materials publicly. He can get ready for articles, and they were ready to hand out copies to everyone in D.C. that wanted them, and reporters and media. All right, so copies were provided to Solomon as he began preparing a story for his website. It continued that he received a call from the White House asking for the copies to be returned for additional redactions. Even though Trump declassified all of this, there is a process, and they had the right to maybe redact a few names and a few processes and things that they, if there's anything ongoing, right? Meadows promised Solomon that they would receive the revised binder, but this has never happened to this day. And some reports are saying that the contents of the binder show the true nefarious acts of the CIA overseas prior to the information coming from the Five Eyes. Again, it's heating up. It could be a cruel, cruel summer. Is this what they were looking at Mar-a-Lago? Is this what Trump declassified? Is this what it's all about? Never forget, John Brennan stepped down on January 20th, 2017 at high noon, the minute Trump had his inauguration, out of fear.
Streets and the pavements are burning. I sit around trying to smile, but the air is so heavy and dry. It's a cruel, cruel summer, leaving me here on my own. It's a cruel, cruel summer. Now you're gone.
The Patriot Hour Reloaded. Next week's news. Now.